Sometimes true strength lies in listening to nature, to others, and to our own heart. The boy who spoke to the wind. There was a village far away from the cities, near the edge of a great desert. The land was dry, the trees were few, and the sun often painted the sand golden. In this village lived a boy named Ravi. He was quiet, small for his age, and often alone. Most people didn't notice him much, and those who did often called him strange. But Ravi didn't care. He didn't want to play the usual games or chase goats in the field. He had a different friend, the wind. Ravi believed that the wind could speak, not in words like humans, but in feelings. When he was sad, a cool breeze would brush against his cheeks. When he was happy, the wind would dance around him, spinning tiny clouds of sand into the air. Sometimes the wind would sing through the holes in the village fences, and Ravi would listen like it was telling him a secret. Ravi's parents had passed away when he was just 6 years old. After that, he lived with an old shepherd who barely spoke. The man gave him food, a place to sleep, and little else. There was no love, no warmth, no stories at bedtime. So Ravi found comfort outside. Every day after his chores, he would climb the tallest sand dune and sit at the top, legs crossed, face turned toward the endless sky. He would close his eyes and whisper, "Are you there today?" Sometimes there was no answer. But sometimes the wind would arrive suddenly, almost playfully, as if saying, "Yes, I'm listening." People in the village often said, "That boy is wasting time. He talks to the air." But Ravi didn't care. To him, the wind was the only thing that stayed. It never lied. It never left. It was always there, around him, above him, inside him. As he grew older, Ravi began to understand the wind even more deeply. He could feel when a sandstorm was coming. He could sense when the rains were far away. He knew, by the way the breeze moved, if someone was upset or in danger. It wasn't magic. It was attention. He simply listened harder than others. One evening, a terrible sandstorm approached the village. The sky darkened, and the air turned heavy. Animals ran for shelter. People shut their doors and windows. But Ravi stood on the dunes, eyes open, arms wide. The wind howled, wild and angry. The sand hit his skin like tiny knives. But he did not move. He whispered, "What are you trying to say?" The wind roared louder, spinning in circles. He closed his eyes. Tears mixed with dust on his face. And then suddenly, the wind calmed. Just for a moment. And in that stillness, he felt it. Not words, not voices, but a sadness. A deep, aching sadness. He whispered, "You're not angry, are you? You're hurting." And just like that, the storm softened. That night, the storm broke parts of the village. Trees fell. Roofs flew. But not a single grain of sand touched Ravi's hut. The villagers were shocked. The old shepherd looked at him and said, "You're not afraid of the wind. That's why it protects you." Word spread about the boy who could talk to the wind. Some people laughed. Some stayed away. But slowly, they began to believe. When a little girl got lost in the desert, Ravi stood silently on the dunes. Then he pointed west and said, "She's there." And she was. When a farmer's goats ran away, Ravi listened to the breeze for a while, then said, "Check near the dried riverbed." And they found them there. The villagers stopped calling him strange. They started calling him the wind listener. One day, a wealthy traveler came to the village. He had heard of Ravi and wanted to see if the rumors were true. He found the boy sitting on a rock, watching the horizon. So the man said, "You talk to the wind?" Ravi didn't answer right away. He smiled softly and replied, "No, I listen." The traveler laughed. "And what does it tell you?" "The future." Ravi shook his head. "It tells me what's happening now. And if you listen carefully to now, the future becomes easier to understand." Then came the worst year the village had ever seen. The clouds disappeared. The rain forgot them. The wells dried. Cattle grew thin. People began to lose hope. The village elders went to Ravi. "Ask the wind," they said. "Ask where the rain is." Ravi nodded quietly. He went up the tallest dune and sat there for 3 days. No food, no water, no movement. He sat, and he listened. But the wind didn't come. Not even a breeze. On the 4th night, as he lay staring at the stars, a soft wind touched his face. It was gentle. It carried the scent of wet earth. He stood up quickly. He knew that smell. Rain. The next morning, Ravi came running down the dunes, shouting, "It's coming! The wind has changed. The rain is near." That afternoon, dark clouds gathered over the horizon, and by evening the skies opened, and the rain poured, heavy, pure, endless. People danced. Children shouted. The earth drank. And they never doubted Ravi again. Years passed. Ravi never left the village. He still climbed the dunes, still listened to the wind. But now he also listened to people, because he knew everyone carries a storm inside them. Sometimes all they need is someone to listen. They say that after Ravi passed away at an old age, the wind blew through the village in a way it never had before. Soft, warm, familiar. And if you stand alone in that desert, close your eyes and stay still. You might just hear a whisper in the breeze, saying, "I'm listening." We don't always need to speak to be heard. Sometimes true strength lies in listening, to nature, to others, and to our own heart.